we go live. It is time to go live again. It is 10:56 in the morning here in Chiang Mai, Thailand. Friday morning on the what is this? The 13th of March. 13th of March. I was thinking of January because that's when I started sounding the alarm about this virus, which is really amazingly doing as badly as some of us were concerned about. And so here we go. Please, if you're online, you know what? I knew I was forgetting something. I need that. I need the microphone. So, right. I need a checklist like pilots. No sound. Hey, Needy. There we go. Now we got it. We're good to go. Audio is terrible. Now it should be good. Now it should be good. Hey, Connie. Let's see. Oh, U.S. Gunner offered to send me some. Oh, that's a. Oh, please. I just seen a comment from yesterday that must have been still up there. I'll take a screenshot of that. All right, now the audio should be much better now. I hope should be good audio now. I had the microphone up because I forgot to put it down because I didn't use the pilot checklist. Right, here we go. Let's get started here. Sound check good. All right, 5 by Chris Perryman saying on Facebook. And remember, there's better audio and video on YouTube. So if you go to my YouTube channel, it'll be better there. Let's get started. Hello in California, Los Angeles. A lot of things going on today. A couple of our soldiers and a British soldier were killed in Iraq. Let me turn off this AC. Sorry. And by a rocket strike at Taji, apparently, from launched by Shia again. That's and many others were wounded. I wish the best for their families and rest in peace. It's a serious situation over there in Iraq. Not long ago, what was it, a couple of months or less, there was the rocket strike in Taji, and a lot of people said, oh, it's over now because President Trump has said it's over. They just did this giant rocket strike with ballistic missiles. That was from Iran. But these others apparently were Shia sponsored, and they just hit our base again. And as I said, it won't stop. Iran sponsored people will not stop. I said that. Many people, of course, were saying, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. It happens every time. As with the Afghan peace treaty that, people were heralding recently. And I said, it won't stop. And people asked, did you read it? And I said, no, I don't have to read the manifesto because I know Taliban, it's not going to stop. That was Afghanistan. Likewise here in Iraq, where I spent 2 years and I studied that war quite a lot between 2004 and 2011 in particular. I knew that this would not stop, and it's not going to. I want to say something because I constantly have to defend myself, and I have to defend. I must toot my own horn on things because if I don't, you won't understand why I'm saying that. Unless you've read my work for a long time, that I really have been ahead of the curve so many times, such as with this virus. And we're going to talk about that in detail about the current state of the virus. Here's something from WikiLeaks. You know WikiLeaks, right? WikiLeaks. Famous WikiLeaks, right? Look up WikiLeaks and look up my name. And you'll see there were some releases on WikiLeaks let me see. That's good saying, Pak. All right. So on WikiLeaks, there were some emails about me and from me that were released by WikiLeaks, which made me look very good. So I was kind of thankful for WikiLeaks in that regard. I'd like to say one thing too. I published before years ago. I said even an E4, which is like a corporal or a specialist, let's say a corporal for easy terms, often has access to incredibly key information. And a lot of people didn't believe that at the time. And then when was that? A couple years later or so, WikiLeaks came out from an E4, a specialist, right? The guy who burned everything off on CDs, apparently with a Lady Gaga label, and And then it was WikiLeaks. It released huge amounts of classified information, some of which was about me. But it made me look good, and some of which was not really classified, but it was internal, for instance, by Stratfor. Many people have heard of Stratfor, which is it's a very well regarded private intelligence site. You can find it online. So here's one of their internal documents about me that was released on Stratfor. It was released by WikiLeaks. And this was from 2007, August 31st. You can find what I'm telling you. Write down a couple of keywords here and you can find it. Stratfor, Michael Yon. Here we go. Subject, counterinsurgency. This is an internal email at Stratfor about me. Sir, you might have a look, or you might take a look, if you haven't already done so, at the reports from Michael Yon. That's me. I have subscribed for some time and found his work more timely and authoritative than anything I'm reading. He described the changes in Anbar several weeks in advance of what has come to be reported by the government and media. That's me. Again, I was ahead of everybody. CNN, BBC, U.S. government, British government, and I wasn't a few weeks ahead. I was months ahead. I may have been a year ahead, but I was definitely months ahead. But he must have noticed at least weeks ahead. And it was very important. What I was ahead of was not minor stuff. It was actually very important. So, then the email continues. He remarks, he meaning Michael Yon, remarks that the Marines, and to a lesser extent the Army, have developed counterinsurgency skills to a well-developed level and are teaching them to associated Iraqi troops as well. Their efforts have borne fruit as evidenced by a greater level of Iraq citizenry support and intel which our people are receiving. And anyway, it goes on and on and on. But basically, it makes me look very good. You can find it online. And there was more to it than he's describing, but there was reasons why there was a sea change in Anbar province, and it was a harbinger for the rest of many things. And so I was consistently ahead, time and time again. Here's another one from Stratfor that was found by WikiLeaks, and this one's from 2011. It's an internal document. Michael Yon, former Army and now an independent combat reporter, firmly called bullshit, use the term bullshit, to the Rolling Stone story. He's got excellent insight and provides rebuttal and proper perspective regarding 5.2 Stryker Brigade combat team in Afghanistan. He also calls foul on the video, which Rolling Stone has on the website in conjunction with the story. And then she puts a link to my link. And then a link to the Rolling Stone article. How U.S. soldiers in Afghanistan murdered innocent civilians and mutilated their corpses, and how their officers failed to stop them. Plus, an exclusive look at the war crime photos censored by the Pentagon. Right. So this is an internal document at Stratfor. Look up Stratfor if you don't know who they are. Quite famous, quite highly respected. And this is internal documents about me, which makes me look very good. You can find these online. Just Wikipedia, not Wikipedia, WikiLeaks, Stratfor, Michael Yon. You'll find stuff that makes me look better than I can ever make myself look. And that's from 5.2 Stryker Brigade combat team, by the way, that this email was about. In any case, the guy who made the war crimes allegation, his name is Michael Hastings, and he's now dead. And I actually saw the tree that he ran into in Hollywood in his high-speed Mercedes. And people said that General McChrystal murdered him with a Hellfire missile, which was utter bullshit. Now, in January, I was warning about what might happen here with the virus. And not just the virus, but the complex of everything. The virus, the political aspects, the financial aspects, the economic the economic aspects. Business is not as usual now. Back just about 3 weeks ago, what was this, 19th of February or something like this, NASDAQ.com had a headline, Daily Markets, Investors Aren't Bugged by This Virus. That was just like 2.5 weeks ago. Now the market has just completely crashed, right? I mean, now the U.S. just put in about $1.5 trillion to try to boost. It's not even working. And and now it's Trump pummels the markets with most expensive speech in history. You know the speech he just gave? And I immediately came on and said, hey, whoa, whoa. And well, anyway, the Telegraph published that yesterday, that this is worse for Wall Street than anything since 1987, worse for Wall Street and London. So anyway, there you go. Now, when it comes to Iran knocking down just because Trump said it did, listen to me. Don't listen to President Trump. President Trump is consistently wrong about Iran. He's consistently wrong about Afghanistan, although I do agree that it's probably a good idea to pull out. Respect him on that. Or at least change the way we do business dramatically. But then I was saying that in 2006 in 12 major dispatches. So here we go. We're going to have a long time ahead. Remember, I am consistently very far ahead. I'm now talking ahead of what's about to happen. What's about to happen is the United States is about to get smashed. We're not smashed yet, but we're about to get smashed. You see the NBA and all these people canceling this, that, and the other, right? So we're about to get smashed, just like that we are about to experience very bad times in various countries, right? And so what are we to do? Well, I know that's going to happen, so I'm thinking ahead, right? What's beyond this? What's beyond this is a lot of us are going to be in self-quarantine or in the hospital or maybe dead. And so maybe we will have a lot of time together talking in our quarantine coffee and book club, because we'll have a lot to talk about, because a lot of people will probably be at home starting very soon if you're not already. For instance, many Italians up in the Lombardy region, up in North Italy, what a wonderful place, is now in a very bad situation. And so, right. Okay, I see a comment here. Somebody saying, Mike, I'll read the bad comments here. Mike, your book, The Moment of Truth in Iraq, which is right here, didn't exactly call bullshit on the Iraq war, did it? I'm sorry I didn't read it. Whoa. Rewind. You just said you didn't read it. Can't make up this stuff. Can't make it up. All right. So, yes, Timothy Cornegay saying our strategic allies are hit hard by the coronavirus. Yeah, Xi's disease. Well, the Wuhan virus, the China plague. Tourism industry is shot. It is. Now, so many things to talk about. We can see how bad the economy has just been hit. Global economy, not the Italian or Iranians. The Iranians appear to be digging mass graves. They appear to be digging graves now with backhoes. And so there's a lot of forced sellings going on. In other words, people are selling at any price that they can get for stocks and whatnot. Trillions of dollars, according to reports that I'm reading, just got wiped off of the stock value due to I wouldn't say due to Trump's speech, but after Trump's speech. It's now, I'm not blaming everything on Trump. This virus was coming. We could see it. Whereas he's trying to say that he's ahead of the curve on all these things, he is absolutely not. Absolutely not. If anybody was ahead of the curve, we would have been building mask factories back in like late December, right? But we haven't. In the United States, we got CDC and everybody else telling us that masks don't work. They may do more harm than good, which is utter and complete bullshit. Now, very important. If you haven't stocked up on food yet, you need to do it. You need to do it. In Italy, all stores are shut except for food and pharmacies, from what I'm reading and being told. I'm getting firsthand reports from Italy, and then I'm seeing reports online and in news feeds and whatnot. Looks pretty bad. And it's just going to ripple right through Europe. That much is clear. And the United States. And so let's see. Gold prices have plummeted, actually. Normally, they don't plummet in times of crisis, but now people need cash. And this is very interesting times. But, the good part about this is we get to live through what may be the worst thing that's happened to humanity in 100 years. And so at this point, we'll see who the heroes and zeros are. Everybody needs to make sure that they are prepared, their families are prepared, and we will just, get on this together and talk every day. And you know what? Maybe we should do a 1 day fast soon, so that people who've never fasted before. I don't want to fast during this. I want to preserve my fat at this point. But we might do a 1 day fast here and there if people want to do it, to just show you that you can go 1 day without food and it's no big deal. You don't even notice. It's just psychological. But just in case, for whatever reason, you don't get to eat food, people like me, that shouldn't be a problem. I've gone 20 days with no food before. It's no problem. And I've already stockpiled. But let's talk about some comments here. And let's. Anne Marie is saying it's too late here in New York City. Shelves are stripped bare. I'm not going to let Trump get away with his advisors or crap any more than I would give all of his, he should give his advisors credit when he does well. But if he doesn't do well, it's not his advisors. I mean, that's his job, is to be able to sort through BS. And that's when, on The Apprentice, you're fired type stuff, he's always like, I can see through it all, right? I'm going to have my excellent team here. Whatever. Listen, obviously, the United States has walked right into a punch to the face, as has all of Europe, as has most places, but not Hong Kong, Singapore, South Korea, and Taiwan. However, they're still going to get hit. They're getting hit, as you can see. At least South Korea was way ahead of the curve. Credit to where credit's due, and maybe Japan is. I was looking at some Japan numbers this morning. They look like they've flattened their curve a little bit. Flattened curve is a term that we're all going to have to get to know what that means among each other. In other words, slowing down the spread of this virus. It's still going to run its course, but flattening the curve means spreading it out to the point where we don't overwhelm our medical systems, like has happened happened in China, obviously, and is happening in Italy now, where they're doing triage, and doctors are having to make decisions. This one doesn't get treatment and therefore probably dies, and this one gets treatment and may or may not survive. And so that's soon coming to the United States and across Europe, and probably Thailand is my very strong guess. I've been calling my Thai friends this morning and saying, stock up. And knowing that a lot of Thais aren't coming on my Facebook at this point. Generally, they do a lot, but I think now they're talking among Thais on Thai language, although a lot of Thais do come on still. Yeah. Yeah, like Mark Stappenbeck says, nobody is ahead of this. Too many folks moving around too fast. Old Chinese course, may you live in interesting times. Well, these are very, very interesting times, to say the least. Oh, there were some of us who were ahead of it. First of all, people who've actually tried to be aware of these dangers years and years in advance, because, reading books on biological warfare, plagues, that sort of thing, famines. It's, if you study up way in advance, and people are like, why are you studying another book on famines? I'm like, well, because there's going to be more. And I need to have these ideas in my head and worked out in advance, what causes them, how to avoid them, that sort of thing. Plagues, likewise. That's why I already had masks, and I bought a lot more masks, but I gave them away. So, I mean, it's like I was already prepared, really. Actually, I could probably have not done a thing, and even in a worst case scenario, I'd probably be good to go. But a lot of people not. Because, and also there's the denial that happens with people are like, this evokes fear in people, and fear often evokes anger, right? And so, and there's a transference of emotions, right? If you're sitting beside something that's why advertisers, or let's say main name brand products, Coca-Cola or whatever, they don't like to see their product right next to some bad thing that makes people feel bad. That's why you see YouTube demonetizing a lot. A lot of people say that's based on politics. It could be, but also advertisers. I mean, if you're advertising, something that the advertiser wants people to feel good about before they make a purchasing decision, they don't want you on there feeling bad about stuff. So that, which, coronavirus or whatever, Wuhan virus, you can see on the bottom of my YouTube page, there's probably an advertisement for the World Health Organization right now. If you're on my YouTube page, there is probably an advertisement on my YouTube page right now, because as soon as I started talking about things like coronavirus, the virus, these sorts of things, their algorithms, their voice recognition picks it up, and you can see it's transcribing, right? What I'm saying is being transcribed real time. And so it's going into their computers, their AI and whatnot, and it's putting that World Health Organization banner underneath there. And if you click that and you read it, you'll see that it immediately talks about, false information. It's basically implying that people like me are putting out false information. It'll talk about, it'll mention the moonwalks, it's, in other words, it's trying to put me beside people who are conspiracy theories that we never walked on the moon or that sort of thing. You know what I mean? Actually, I was there for Apollo 11 launch. I fully believe we walked on the moon. For one thing, it's a lot harder to fake walking on the moon than it is to actually do it. Somebody made a movie. I think they mentioned that in the movie, right? But I mean, it's true. It's something I've thought about since they came up with all this conspiracy many years ago. I was like, I don't think we could fake that because we're not that smart. We're smart enough to go to the moon, but we're not smart enough to fake it. That takes a special level of smart that we haven't attained. Maybe the Chinese could pull it off with their information war. Open borders. Europe is about to pay for that, but actually and the United States as well. But as you can see, this whole open borders thing is being tested right now as people are shutting off and quarantining Italy, and as Italy self-quarantines. And many of us will be self-quarantined soon. Wayshawn says, in most circumstances, fasting does improve mental clarity. It sure does. Okay. And let's see, Lay says, we're pretty set with canned goods, and as long as drinkable water is available, we'll be okay. And make sure, okay, you might not be able to see all of the comments because my page is going out to a couple YouTube sites and then multiple Facebooks. So in other words, somebody might be commenting on one Facebook site and you're like, what am I reading? It's from something on a different, it's on a different site. Janet says she can go without food, but not without wine. Okay. Laura says, fasting is good for immune system. Let's see. Alrighty then. The Art of War speaks this scenario. I read The Art of War, but I don't know what scenario you're talking about. Actually, I've read it a couple times. What are you talking about in particular, Mark? And oh, by the way, I'd like to thank everybody who supported my work on Patreon, PayPal, Venmo, Mitsubishi Bank, my Japanese bank, or my Bank of America, Venmo, all those things. If you scroll to the top of my personal Facebook page, you'll see methods there that you can or you go to my YouTube. My YouTube also shows all these places, bank account numbers and that sort of thing. And I actually very much need it. And actually, I'm concerned as well. I mean, my new book just came out, the red one here, about almost 2 weeks ago now. And I highly doubt that it's going to do well. So it was a huge amount of work that was put into it. The other two did very well. That's why the publisher wanted to do a third one and was already talking about a fourth one. But now with, things collapsing, even though the book is quite important, people are going to be more concerned about, the virus and how to defend themselves economically and that sort of thing, how to defend your family, how to, Lori Johnson says, are you effing serious right now. Maybe we should just elect Dementia Joe. Well, with a comment like that, I think Joe's not the only one with dementia. You see, that's not how this works. It doesn't work when you say, I don't like spinach. I love spinach. And therefore, I don't like broccoli. Or I love broccoli. Actually, I love spinach and broccoli. But it's like, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work with, I don't think that one's telling the truth, and therefore that one must be telling the truth. And actually, if you're over about the age of 12 years old and this hasn't sunk in yet, you're so far behind, I just can't help you, especially if you're over about 18 or 19 or 20. It's just too late. I mean, I can just say, grab a broom and sweep the floor. Because if you haven't figured out yet that saying one person is not correct makes another person correct, you're just too far behind. I can't help. There's nothing I can do. Nothing I can do. I'd love to, but there you go. Let's see. All right. Matthew, I'm not saying it's nothing, but using the failure of socialist Italy's healthcare system as a reason to panic is utter nonsense. Another utter nonsense is to say that we're panicking. Who's panicking? The people who panic are the ones who are saying, don't panic, don't panic. Oh my gosh, you're panicking. How many people will say, hey man, that house is on fire over there? And you just say it calm as Christmas. And they'll be like, don't panic. I'm like, I'm not panicking. I'm sitting here saying that house is on fire. I think I'll go get me a cup of coffee. Yeah. You know what? I walked at least 100 miles through minefields in Iraq and Afghanistan. At least. And some are marked with a sign, and some are unmarked, but they still have mines just the same. And when I mean walking through at least 100 miles of minefields, IED fields, I mean really. I mean like people getting blown up in front of me and beside me. Body parts landing in trees. Yeah, that. And I kept doing mission after mission after mission. And I'll go back to war again tomorrow. I'm not the panicking type, sport. And let me tell you, last big combat mission I did in Afghanistan was 2011, right? And we landed in helicopters in this Taliban-held village in Kandahar province. I was with 4-4 Striker Brigade, 4-4 Cav. And landed in this village, go into the village, unopposed. One of my tent mates, Chaz Clark, rest in peace, stepped on an IED. You can see the video through my night vision on my website. Chaz was a very good man. He lost both legs and he lost an arm. And he died. And another soldier was wounded. On my video, you can hear stuff landing all around me, right? And then we wait for the helicopters to come and the medevac. They're very late. Very, very, very late. And you can look up Michael Yon medevac and you can see how this got brought before the House and the Senate and got all over the news. And it was really a bad, bad deal. And I ended up talking with Chaz mother many, many times. She was a very strong woman. I can see how Chaz got so strong. And then we continued mission. The sun came up. Medevac picked up Chaz as he was still alive, flew him back to Kandahar Air Base. We got a radio call later. Chaz had died. The other soldier was walking wounded. He survived. Then we get a radio call. Chaz had passed away. We get into a firefight. Got into several firefights, as I recall, that morning. Chaz has already been medevaced and died. We're still getting into firefights. Got into some more firefights, as I recall. We come to one area. I spot an IED. Then we continue mission inside this village. There's IEDs everywhere, right? And then was it that night, I think, continue mission. We're sleeping in the village on a rooftop. And I think it was still daylight when this happened. Boom! Nearby. Another soldier stepped on an IED. Blew his rifle in half. Killed him. He was an Afghan soldier. Loaded him up in the body bag. Kept him. That night, was it that night? Well, he was still in the body bag. My timeline might be off. But anyway, same mission. I think it was that night. You know, Taliban field mission. We've been getting into firefights. 2 soldiers now dead, 1 wounded. We kept 1 soldier because it was too dangerous to land helicopters in because they might get shot down. And then we need to resupply for ammo because there have been so many firefights, and so we're low on ammo and other things, and need to resupply medical and all that sort of thing. CH-47 helicopters landing. You can see them. I've published some of the photos and maybe video. And the CH-47 helicopter is landing right in front of me. You can see it through my night vision. I'm like, please don't get shot down. I mean, the Taliban can easily get that helicopter. It's right in the kill zone. Comes in, lands, leaves our ammo and stuff, takes off. Next morning comes. Maybe we stayed 1 more day. I don't remember. Anyway, walk out in the morning time, carrying the body bag of the dead Afghan soldier. Then we get on helicopters and fly back to base. And then I continue doing combat year after year after year, just like I had done before. And so, no, I'm not the panicking sort. And if you think that, then you need to get your head out of your ass. And if you're not prepared and you end up starving or somebody shoots you while you're trying to steal their food, tough luck. And I would suggest to people who are preparing, if you're Americans, buy ammunition, because there's a lot of people who are not preparing now. And if we get into a supply issue and that sort of thing, you may be the only line of defense for your family. You call 911, there's no cops to come. How many times this happened in America? How many times do we have something bad happen and the police are not there? Riots, whatever. Soon, many police and other emergency people will have this virus or will be in quarantine or will be defending their own family. You think they're going to drive 10 miles out into the sticks to defend you and your family? Buy ammo. And if you're waiting this long to buy ammo, there you go. Is there news on South Korea? I'm actually, an officer from South Korea sent me some stuff yesterday, but it's not anything that really is not in the news. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to try to answer some questions here. Ewan Kip Moon, who's always accurate in his comments. Asia was hit bad by SARS in 2003, so we take this seriously. Western world couldn't emotionally believe they could get hit this time. Yeah, and about to get smashed. You know, it's that hurricane thing. You know, 10 hurricanes come and it's a class 5. It's going to smash us dead. And then it drifts off into the Atlantic and dies in the North Sea and nobody ever sees it, you know, except for the ships out to sea. And then another one does the same. And here comes a Cat 2 and does the same. And here comes another Cat 5 and it misses us. And everybody's like, well, every time you say it's going to happen. And then boom, Katrina. Or Homestead gets flattened. Or Charleston gets flattened. Or whatever. And it goes on and on and on and on, you know. And so there you go. I mean, this is the thing about being prepared. You don't wear your seatbelt when you think you're going to have a crash. If you're smart, you wear it all the time. Yeah, Julia's saying, Mikutel, man, see the video of the Wuhan exotic meat market. Dogs, rats, cats, bats, snakes, blood everywhere. Good grief. Keep the borders closed forever. You know, I've been to a lot of those wet markets in different countries, and you will see bats. I've seen bats in, I think, Laos and someplace else. I thought I had some photos of them, but I couldn't find them, which is strange. Okay, Leia's saying, a nephew is getting married next week, and family from Asia won't be able to come now. Even those from the East Coast are iffy. I would suspend the wedding for now. Love will last. And just suspend the wedding. Tell them to get, you know, just go ahead and start working on the honeymoon and have babies now. No. Don't do that now. Let's wait until this virus thing is under control. Yeah. The in the war coming, the man who keeps his army intact will win all. Yeah, well, I mean, that's why I preserve force. That's why I keep advising our friends in Hong Kong and Americans. I know we got our own problems right now, but the best support for Hong Kongers so far has come from Americans like me flying over and many others, not just Americans. There's British too and Aussies and Taiwanese people and Japanese. But our Hong Kong friends know that we're going to be in our own situation here soon, so we're not going to be able to do a lot of direct help for the moment. Hong Kongers should preserve strength and preserve force right now. Preserve your resources, preserve your family, preserve yourself, continue to organize, because there'll be another time. The time to strike is not now. It will be later. It's coming. It's not here yet. Tactical patience. All right. Let's see. Yeah, and also, Scott saying hoarders are cleaning off the. This is in California, in Temecula, however you say that. Off the shelves at Costco, lines are out the doors all hours. Fist fights are breaking out between customers. Yeah, not me. Not the friends that watch my work and pay attention to it, and not a lot of the preppers. Preppers aren't doing that. We're just watching on TV, like there they go again. You know what I mean? Like how many hurricanes do you have to go through to you know? And what's the toilet paper thing? I don't know, man. People fist fighting over toilet paper. You got to admit there is some humor in that. You know, the toilet paper thing is just kind of weird, but I don't know. But you know, let's see. Lay Ayala is saying, why was there a coffin in one of the Costco stores of all things? That's a good question. Did you photograph it, or did you see it yourself, or was that on TV or something? I mean, that's kind of strange. Actually, they should be selling a lot of shovels now too, because you know, actually, I've been yeah, I'm very interested to know what's happening, for instance, in India. And it should be easy to figure out. India is hard to hide it. And because, for instance, they do cremation, which are a lot of them are outside, and they'll be, for instance, by the Ganges River. And so they'll be out burning a lot of bodies on the rivers, like the Ganges River, or up in Kathmandu at Pushapatinath, you know, downtown. You'll be able to just see. I mean, Nepal keeps playing down. They don't even move their numbers on this, which on the disease, which you know they're probably afraid of hurting the tourism. But Costco sells coffins online. Scott Wolf says, "Wow, Mike Morgan saying the same thing. What, isn't that something?" Do they sell the coffins? Like, does it come with a shovel and some gloves? You know, who's this word Dunlap? I love this comment. 40 pounds of dehydrated potatoes. No potato famine here. LOL. I love it, man. That's great. 40 pounds of. I got a bunch of rice and all kinds of other stuff, but yeah. Here, Jenna's saying, everyone on my Facebook is complaining about the idiots buying everything. I knew the idiots were going to buy everything, so I bought all I would need over a month ago. That's exactly right. You know, here's the idiots are complaining about hoarders, and the hoarders are being idiots because the smart people did in advance all the preparation. We don't have to go to do anything, right? I'm going to deliver some food today to some older people that can't go shopping, but that's it. I don't have to do anything. And I'm going to go to a store to check it out and see what the conditions are like there. But I don't need a thing, man. I don't need a thing at all. You know, I think I'll get a solar panel though, but I don't really, just in case, you know, it comes down to that. But I also, in a worst case scenario, I'll have my sat gear running. For instance, if everything just runs dead here, I'll pop up on my sat gear and so that way we can keep in touch that way. Thomas Angela Kelly, preach it, Michael. You got us all prepared. Just look at the good people you helped that listen to your warnings. It makes me super happy. It makes me super. And there's Jay Lamb over in Hong Kong. Jay's very brave. I was out in the fighting with her a lot. India, first death yesterday, 74 confirmed cases, out of which 17 are non-locals. United States and Thailand are going to pay a heavy price for our medical systems that encourage people not to go to the hospital. I mean, imagine you got a family of 5 in the United States and you're not exactly super rich, right? And you think somebody in your family gets the virus, and you can't afford and especially if you're like middle class. If you have no income, then you can go that way. But if you're super high income, it's no problem. But if you're in that middle region, you could be facing bankruptcy, right? Why would you want to go to the hospital? And this is happening in family clusters as well. Somebody goes out from the family and brings it back in. We know that already. Scientists have described that many times already with this particular disease. And so family clusters are already occurring in different countries. And so what are you going to do when you got a family of 3, 4, 5 people? Are you going to go get all this? What if you got a family of 20 people? You just had a family get together, family reunion or whatever, which I would strongly cancel. You don't want your whole family to get wiped out at once. You ever see in Iraq and Afghanistan and other countries like that where funerals get attacked all the time? You know the reason they attack the funerals and weddings? There's specific reasons to do that. Often the fighting is tribal, and you might kill a person in the tribe so that they'll have a funeral, and then the funeral is the real attack because you're attacking the whole. You're trying to kill like 30, 40, 50 people at the funeral, right? That's your real target sometimes, or at a wedding where the whole family comes in, and likewise with this virus. So that's why everybody should be canceling, or not cancel a wedding, of course. I mean, postpone the wedding, and the funerals, you got to make your mind up on that because what's your particular situation on the funeral? What nobody can answer that except the individuals involved. But I would certainly not have large funerals. I mean, if I die on this, I hope nobody comes to my funeral because then somebody else can get it and follow me, which I don't need celebrations. Let's see. Mark stepping back is saying they know how to use toilet paper, so that's what they hoard. Flour, on the other hand, is readily available because so few people know how to cook. Surprising. Make sure you have plenty of butane or propane if you have a gas stove. If you don't have a gas stove and you only cook on electricity, make sure you go out and get one of those cheap gas stoves at least. They're not expensive. I mean, I don't know, 20 or 30 bucks, 40 bucks. I don't think that much. And they work really well. And one that I used to use a lot in the Army, and then I used it a lot when I was traveling around. It must be in America now. I used the MSR little. It'll use practically any fuel, man. You can put kerosene in it, all kinds of stuff. I'm not going to use one of those here. I'll just use propane and butane if the electricity goes out. But make sure you've got plenty of gas. I just got that candle burning right there to remind you to make sure you got candles. That's why I put it on. Keep a candle burning. And, I like these sort of candles. I use these. I've read many a book by these candles. You see that little hood on the top of it? It reflects the light back down on you. And I like them. They're cheap. It'll burn, man. You can that thing will burn. And actually, there's something about reading by candle that'll put you to sleep. If you read by other lights, there's something about the lights. You know how people have described the light frequency issue for years. And it also, you can put this reflector on it to reflect the light your direction, whichever direction you want to be, right? And you can read by these things, and it's romantic. And so you can I've read many books by those things, especially when I'm up in Nepal or India, that sort of thing. And it's very good to have a lot of candles around for obvious reasons. Also, there's something about candles that makes you feel better. I don't know what it is, but so, that's important while you're going through this. Make sure while you're shopping, you got plenty of spices that make you feel good spices, right? I like pepper. I like all kinds of, make sure you got enough sea salt to last you through 1 month food supply and minerals and vitamins. That's bare minimum. But I would have an absolute minimum of 1 month. That's bare minimum, though. That's like super bare minimum. But if you're really stocked up now, then you don't have to go to the store very often as well. You don't want to be running to the store every 4 days. You know what I mean? Get in there and load those carts up. Well, now we're getting to the point where that's called hoarding. But if you did it back when I did it, which was I always got good stock, but then I plussed up on it as well. Uh, that's not a problem. Make sure you got good water purification. I use these Stirrapins, and I use my Katadyn pocket filter wherever it's at now. I've shown it many times. Maybe somebody can put a link. Oh, comments knocked off here. Let's see. That's why ladies like candlelight. It makes us look better. Yeah, I should do this. I should do these things by candlelight. And I'll look much better, and make my skin look nice and fresh and everything. Yeah, make sure you've got stuff that makes you feel good, and we'll come online. I mean, if it gets to the if it gets to the point, it already is to the point in many places. But as it gets more to the point of more and more people being quarantined, which most people should be doing it most of the time right now, if you're the sort that's watching this from pretty much anywhere except the space station, you should be spending a lot of time, inside and not in crowds. It's my brother Rodney Morris. Okay, Rodney Morris. We grew up together. We grew up in Winter Haven, Florida together. Winter Haven, great place to grow up. And then Rodney joined the Army and became a military policeman. And then later he became an officer, and then he became the provost marshal in Iraq. So he was running the prison, not all the prisons in Iraq, but in the 1st Infantry Division. So he's the one that kind of baited me into coming to Iraq. That and a couple of my friends were killed. But and then so the first embed I did was actually Rodney invited me over. So so Rodney where did Rodney's questions go? Okay, Rodney's saying, hey brother, some of my friends are asking if P95 mask this virus. And yeah, I mean, I got P95 and N95, but either one, the N or the P is just whether or not it'll work with petroleum. P will work with petroleum products, right? Oils and that sort of stuff. N is not, it won't work with the oils. But let me see. I'm trying to see the rest of your question up there. Hold on. I have to knock something off the screen to see it. Yeah, they work like N95. They do. Rodney, brother Rodney. We go back so long together. We used to chase girls together in high school. That's how far back we go. We used to work out together and that sort of thing. And then Rodney became super soldier. And, oh, man, he used to come home from leave because he's 1 year older than me, right? He'd be like, you ready to join the Army? And, that's not a good salute. Teach you how to salute, But it wasn't hard to persuade me to go to the Army. I mean, I'm from my culture. We hugely respect the military. I mean, it's easy to recruit people. It's easy to recruit people from my culture to go into the Army or the Marines, or one of our friends became the youngest SEAL in history, Scott Helvenston. He was only 17. People will say that's bullshit. It's absolutely the truth. Don't say anything without ever checking. Never, ever, ever assume anything. All right. Irene Gardikis Larkin is asking, Michael, is the virus receding as reported from China? Okay. I've been listening to the experts say that a lot, and I've been following threads of some people that are in China. I don't trust China, period. That won't change ever. But it's possible they're trying to get people to go back to work. But a lot of the infectious disease experts, like to a man and to a woman, are saying, okay, they've done the social separation thing, which can reduce the R0, the transmissibility. Like, I can't transmit to anybody right now because I'm in here. I'm alone. Well, I'm with Barney, my dog. She's sleeping beside me. And so that has reduced their transmissibility by being quarantined, right? But if they go back to work, it's like throwing more coal back into the already hot fire. That means clearly a lot of people are infected. It doesn't just go away, It's not like it goes away. So China, if they're doing what it appears that they're doing, which is they did the social separation, but their economy is so badly damaged so you got the multiple parts of this equation, right? You got the virus. That's just part of it. Remember the earthquake in Japan, caused a tsunami, which caused electricity to go out to Fukushima, which caused a heat buildup, which caused an explosion, which caused radiation to escape, which caused, economic problems that continue today, and not to mention radiation still leaking, right? So, I mean, so it starts with earthquake, tsunami, electricity out, flood because of electric, and and it goes on from there, right? And it's still going on. So, likewise with this virus, the virus at some point may be, although the virus could kill 50 or 100 million people, nobody's going to know until it's a few years from now, right? I mean, because it's not going to end this year. There's not going to be a vaccine this year. There's just not going to be. All the experts are like, no, but it makes people feel good to think that. No. Putting people back to work at this point, according to every expert I've seen, which is quite a lot, because that's all I do now. When I'm awake, I'm studying what's happening with this, not just the virus, but the other components like the economy and the financial situations and the political situations. This could lead to war in different places. It could lead to civil unrest in the United States in a heartbeat. One of the things, and something I've mentioned before, I've been saying since at least the 90s, is that, United States, I've been all over America. You know what I mean? I grew up in Florida. I went to school in California twice, lived in Massachusetts twice, Ohio, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. I've been all over 48 states except for Alaska and some other state, right? So we have a lot of solid people in the United States, great people. That's clear, obviously. But we also have other components that if there's not enough money flowing and the economy is crushed and the tax base is eroded, a lot of things are going to get cut. And that can lead to immediate social unrest. That can lead to streets burning, stores on fire, rapes and murders and everything else. That's why people like me say year after year after year, we will not surrender our weapons. No way. Do not surrender your weapon. And if you got less than 1,000 rounds of ammunition and less than a month's supply of food, you're just lazy and wrong. If you're American, you need to have at least 1,000 rounds, and you need to have at least a month's supply of food. I'm saying 1,000 rounds if you live out in some place like, in away from everything. If it's not to get into that, but I mean, certainly make sure you got plenty. If we get into, civil unrest in the United States, you will be responsible. You and your family and your friends will be responsible. You need to talk with all your neighbors. You need to have a plan for defense of your neighborhood, and more than neighborhood watch. You know what I mean? That's why I would like to have a lot of cops and soldiers and stuff as my neighbors. Serious type people. That are not afraid to make your neighborhood into a porcupine. You know what I mean? Don't come here. Go to the places where they've surrendered their weapons. That's where the easy pickings are. Yeah, and now this name is taken. Another reason to stock a little extra. You will have friends, some with kids. You don't want to see kids go hungry. We might all assume some responsibility and solutions. Think a little of charity. That's true, but you can't afford to. First things first. Try to make everybody prepare as many people as possible. Many people will not, of course, but this is something that preppers talk, and this isn't just theoretical. These things happen all the time. I mean, when Katrina hit or whatever, there's always shortages, and there always ends up being fights. There always ends up being violence. There always end up, and so you're either prepared or you're not. And so, yeah. I hope that answered your question, Irene. Hey, Ron, you should be safe up in your neck of the woods. Hello in Canberra. Let's see. You can go down to N89. Let's see. Exactly. Secure yourself and family, and then there's a reason why they say you're in the airplane, put your mask on first, right? Even if it's your own child that's like 4 years old sitting next to you, and the mask comes down, you must put yours on first. It's kind of common sense, but we have this tendency to save the child. But the problem is, see, that's the reason a lot of I knew I used to have a girlfriend who was a whitewater rafter champion, not champion, but she used to do that stuff all the time. And one of the problems they have with rescue uh, is when a child, often the problem is a father. It's not a child. Like a child falls out of a boat, and father's like, "I'll rescue the child," and the child's fine. Child's got a big old life jacket on, and the father jumps out, and then child gets fished out, and it's the father that ends up in trouble sometimes, especially if the father's up on the shore, and he doesn't have a jacket on or something. So the rescue can be for the father who tried to save the child, but the father didn't have wasn't, what I'm getting to. Enough said. So yeah, definitely take care of yourself immediately first, and then take care of everybody else. That's Basic Soldier 101. Pandan leaves. I love Lay saying avocado leaves make good tea. Really? I never tried that. And pandan leaves, I love. I love the smell of pandan leaves. And also pandan leaves, Thais say that keeps roaches away, which I just love the smell of pandan leaves. So we'll use them as air fresheners in Thailand. You can buy them and hang them up in your car, or I need to get some. I love pandan leaves. They smell good. But I don't have any roaches around here because this house is so clean. But in another place I lived in Thailand, no matter how clean the house was, it was because of the surroundings. You end up with some roaches, not a lot. I'm from Florida, so we're kind of familiar with roaches. Wow. Ron Reese is saying you heard Trudeau's wife tested positive, negative. I did not hear that, Ron. And one thing that you've heard me saying for a long time now is people will not start taking it seriously until famous people start getting sick and dying. For instance, the famous actor and his wife down in Australia. What's his name? Oh gosh, I like him though. What's his name? He got sick. Oh gosh, the Forrest Gump guy. Not Gary Sinise, my friend, but Tom Hanks. I hope Tom's okay, and I hope his wife is okay. But they got it down there. But once they've gotten it, hey, Serdip, once they've gotten it, the only good side to that is, boom, news. Tom Hanks can get it. Anybody can get it. Yeah. But I some people don't like him because of his politics. I don't pay a lot of attention to his politics, but he's a Trump hater, I think, which, and I defend Trump on a lot of things like China policy, but I can see where, but I've always liked Tom Hanks. Of course, I like Michael Jackson, though. Everybody thinks Michael Jackson's such an evil guy in the world. I wonder if all those things were true about Michael Jackson. I used to work for Michael Jackson. I did security for him at Neverland, which was his home. Oh, wow. Justin Trudeau's wife tested positive for coronavirus. I hope she's okay as well. Canada's going to get hit hard. I was watching a press conference with some Canadian official, and they were talking about border issues with the United States and how this disease could spill over from the United States into Canada. I'm like, I don't think the United States is your big border problem. Your big border problem is you let all these flights come in from China, and it's too late. I mean, and Iran and the United States, and it's too late. I mean, it's not too late to defend ourselves. Of course we can. I woke up this morning, got my coffee, and I got my vitamin D, got my vitamin C, got multivitamin, and that sort of thing. There are things we can do to defend ourselves. And also, anything that you do that makes you feel like you're doing something, even if it's a little bit, it actually makes you feel better. Hey, I'm doing something to defend myself. That's one thing that prepping does too. It makes me like I'm relaxed, like I got everything I need. Of course, I could get hit by a car and then not be able to get treatment because the hospitals get full. They're not full now, but one of the things that the United States must address is that our medical system does, not encourage people to go get diagnosed with this. It encourages them to hide it. In the same in Thailand, it encourages people to hide it, and so that's obviously a huge problem. Let's see. Deanna Grushchow is saying that's after you've had symptoms. I know the incubation period, but once you so long after. Um, okay, Deanna is asking once how long after symptoms are gone are you still contagious? How many different things have I read on this? A lot. And I think part of the imperfect information is people repeating stuff that they don't know truly know the answer to. And secondly, also, we don't. I think we still don't actually know the real answer to it. It's been. I mean, this thing really just started breaking recently, right? And there's at least two major strains. I don't know. I'm not an infectious disease expert, so we have to leave that to them. But I do know one thing. I do know that we don't know. I do know that the experts are trying their best to figure it out as quickly as possible. Yeah, Dennis Clayton said, the U.S. has depended too long on global supply chain stability. Now we're starting to learn our lesson. Yeah, that first sentence you just put there says like 10 books full. The U.S. has depended too long on global supply chain stability. You didn't even need to say another word. That says everything that's going to make huge effects on the United States here soon. For instance, and also allowing many of our critical, for instance, pharmaceuticals and active pharmaceutical ingredients to come from China. Mask, also non-pharmaceutical things, also electronics. So many things are coming from China that we depend upon now. It's just been absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, Deanna, everybody's trying to get an answer to that. Deanna says, thank you. I figured there wasn't an answer. I've been trying to get one. Yeah, I mean, I just don't know. And I'm trying to get the answer myself. And this is all I do. Troy is saying, what news or information would you trust? There's several that I've mentioned several times. The one who's doing the best job on the bigger picture is Steve Bannon and Pandemic, because he's putting so many different parts on this, and he comes on every day to talk about it for an hour. And I've watched more than 40 of. I've watched them all. And they'll bring on the economists, they'll bring on the finance people, they'll bring on the infectious disease experts, political experts, because this is more than the virus. There's so many other parts to it. It's a whole complex, right? And so focusing on the virus is to get target fixation and to forget that this is causing economic and financial meltdown, and thus will bring political turmoil that can be epic. So I mean, it can in many different countries. And so it's much bigger than. So it's Steve Bannon with Pandemic, War Room Pandemic, and there's an English doctor named John Campbell. He just sticks to medicine. He'll just stick straight to medicine. He's an older gentleman, and I think he's 63 or something like that. But he'll stick straight to medicine, and he's a medical doctor. And then there's Peak Prosperity with Chris Martenson. He's a former pathologist, but he actually often he's talking about economic stuff. But since he's got that medical background, he's one of those people with multiple skills that he can skill stacks, right? That he's got so like Bannon has as well. Bannon's got all these different skills like finance and politics and the ability to pull people together. So number one is Steve Bannon. With Pandemic, and also Chris Martenson does fantastic. And that British doctor, he just sticks to that though. And there's quite a few others. There's more than one. And as time goes on, we're getting more and more experts that have their own channels. So I'm just watching, pulling in. Surdip is asking, is Bannon on the net or on radio? Both. You can get him on shortwave and medium wave. You can get him on in Cantonese and in Mandarin language, if you speak that. You can get him in multiple languages, English, but you can get him on YouTube, and you can sign up and get alerts when he goes live. War Room Pandemic. He's got this other one, War Room, which is good. That's politics, but I like the Pandemic one more. that's what is so. One thing that I've been saying since December, and keep in mind how I started this by patting my own back, talking about the WikiLeaks, not Wikipedia, but WikiLeaks, found emails about me by Stratfor. Look up my name, Wikipedia, not Wikipedia, WikiLeaks, and Stratfor and Michael Yon, and you can see the emails that were secret. I don't know, they're secret, confidential within this company, Stratfor. They're a private intelligence company, and they're talking about how accurate I am on some things, right? And this is 2006 and 2011, right? And then these things got released in 2013 by WikiLeaks, when all that classified information was released. But so I mean, I have a long record of being correct on many things way in advance. For instance, this other rocket attack that just happened on Taji that killed 2 Americans and a British soldier. That just happened, when people are like, oh, Iran's not going to attack us again, or their proxies or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, they will. You don't understand what we're dealing with. Or this deal with Taliban, the peace treaty. And, excuse me. And without even reading the peace treaty, I said it's not going to work. And people are like, you didn't even read the peace treaty. I'm like, listen, I've studied the Taliban enough. I don't have to read it. I know it's not going to work. And it didn't work. 3 days after they signed it, boom, it broke down. Sometimes sometimes you just get to a point. Everybody's like this. Everybody knows some things in life where I don't need to know the rest of the sentence because I've been, I just know how that person is or that group is or whatever. And it's quite predictable. And so, yeah. And if you've studied some of these things long enough, it's so amazingly predictable that you can skip to the shortcut. Of course, there is some danger in that. But the thing is we're in this big complex world and we don't have time to study every little thing to the nth degree. But when it comes to Taliban, I'm like, it's not going to work. It's like alligator hunting, alligator does such and such. And somebody see like, well, he won't come back up. And I'll be like, he'll come back up probably right over there, about right there. And probably in about 2 or 3 more minutes. And then boom, alligator comes up. And everybody's like, how'd you know that? And I'm like, because I hunt alligators. Let's see, or I used to. All right. Thank you, Jay. Thank you very much. Jay's been out there rolling around in the fighting in Hong Kong like mad. Remember when I would say, Jay's putting her mask on, time to put my mask on. Jay's taking her mask off. I can take my mask off now. Jay has good survival instincts. Ron Reese saying, big rally overnight in stock markets. I'm not even paying attention to the day-to-day stuff. Yeah, make sure sleep is one of your first lines of defense. Make sure you're getting good sleep. If something's causing you sleep, whether it's too much caffeine or bright lights or whatever, try to adjust that soon, like now, because Sherry Weatherford Smith, this is from Italy. Oh, that's a big, long comment here. Let's see. Okay. We are going to get through it. Not all of us, but most of us are going to get through it. But I will predict, as I predicted in January, there will be the world you knew before 2020 and the world you know during 2020 and the world after 2020. There are going to be 3 different worlds, and we're about to go through something together that I believe we're about to go through something together that hasn't been, nobody alive has seen anything this big. I think we are about to see that. And of course, it won't just end in 2020. And so we might as well get together with our, quarantine coffee and book club. And we might as well make a name for it. And because, together, one of the things we have now going for us that we didn't used to have in the old days in quarantines, people would have to go to their little hovel and, be in their cold, damp place alone. We don't have to do that now. We can come online and chat with people and talk about books, talk about something else, talk about, I don't know, talk about fishing, talk about, who was that said he had 40 pounds of potatoes, man? How many recipes do you need to get through 40 pounds of potatoes before you get tired of potatoes? See, that's something we could talk about. We could talk about 40 pounds of potatoes. How much potatoes are you going to use per meal? How many different ways can you cook potatoes until you get sick of potatoes? Or rice. I love rice. But actually, sometimes I don't eat much. But Thai rice, jasmine rice, very good. But I mean, those are things that we could talk about. Like, when people's electricity starts to go out, well, then they might not be online. But yeah, but sort of, yeah, I already answered your question. Okay. Yeah, I've talked about my masks that I wear many times, but we should keep talking about it. Actually, we're getting to the point where you might have to improvise, um, like you know this. You know, I mean, if you cough or sneeze, that's going to slow it down. People say viruses get through that, maybe, but when I'm spitting, it's not shooting across the room, right? And I would say put it over your head, but that'll remind people too much of the Ku Klux Klan. But you can look. You see people putting water bottles over their head, those big water jugs. They cut the bottom off and they look like the robot on Lost in Space. It looks pretty cool, actually. And they got they leave the top off, so they got an air hole and air hole out the bottom. And yeah, that'd be great, Kirk. We'll just do it like the Michael Yon's quarantine hangout. We'll like the quarantine bar and grill. Except I don't drink much, but we can drink coffee. Y'all can drink whatever you want. I like I drink a lot of water. Actually, I'm gonna start drinking some more matcha. You know what matcha is? I haven't drank matcha in a while though, and I got a lot here. Yeah, I can tell you all about cannibals. I tell you what, that'll take your mind off of this. I'll tell you some cannibal stories, man. I'll tell you some cannibal stories. It'll take your mind off of this pandemic. Actually, the cannibals that I tracked in India, and I got them, man. I didn't just track them and find footprints like when I was tracking tigers in Bangladesh out in the Sundarbans. Ooh, Sundarbans is crazy dangerous. But I mean, then I just found footprints. I didn't track them for long, but I tracked the cannibals straight up. I got them out in the jungles, and it wasn't just like a weekend track. I tracked them around the world, India, Nepal, oh, just so many places. North of Milano, in a town named Mizago. I went there. Mizago, Mezzago, Mizago. Oh, so much. Anyway. So I actually went to, Milano, which is under lockdown now. I went up to Mizago. If there's any Italians watching, I'm from Florida. We say Italians. But I'll tell you about cannibal hunting. I'll teach you how to do some proper man hunting. Sometimes it can take a lot of patience. I was wondering, if I could have got Bin Laden. It took the freaking CIA and everybody else 10 freaking years. All right. Lim Chong is saying, what's the situation in Thailand? Safe to go there? No. Do not get on an airplane and come here. For instance, banks this week stopped doing foreign currency exchange. In the bank tellers who were doing currency exchange, like dollars to Thai baht or yen to Thai baht or whatever, they've been put on 14-day self quarantine, and so at least one bank is paying for it. I don't know if the others are or not, but yeah. J Lamb saying, from my experience, recovery is essential for long-term combat. For the worst days last year, I forced myself to follow strict sleep hours and refrain from any distractions by turning off my phones or had them in the flight mode. Yeah, and you were out. You would be out. This is Jay Lamb. I was out with her all the time. She was out there, always we're getting gassed and everything, and sleep is vital. Jennifer Hack saying, isolation and Wi-Fi and cannibals works for me. I'll tell you some cannibal stories. You will not believe it. Actually, I got to learn how to share screens here, and I can show you photos and that sort of thing. Anything to report on Italy? Yes. I've been getting reports from Italy. For instance, I was listening to a bunch of audios, four long audios that somebody sent from Italy, And for instance, he said right after the first case in Italy, he only went to the gym one more day because he went to the gym that day and it was still super crowded, like in the locker room and stuff. So he said he never went back. And at first, people were treating him just like they treat everybody else. Like, why does anybody want to take precautions on this? And now it's self evident. Now all of a sudden, everybody's like, yeah, we see why now. But unfortunately, with the northern part of Italy, which is such a wonderful part of the world, I love it up there. When they did the quarantine, many of the Italians shot down to southern Italy or other places. And so they did what happened in Hubei province in Wuhan, right in the city of Wuhan. They shot out to other parts of China or other parts of the world. So as soon as the quarantine happened, snap, everybody squirted. And same happened in Italy, which likewise will almost certainly be happening across the United States very soon. And I don't mean 3 months from now. But Italy is certainly in a huge problem now. Let's see. Wei Shan must be talking about Epoch Times. They're set up by Falun Gong. Yeah, I've been to their office quite a few times and communicate with them pretty often. Epoch Times. Yeah, they are very anti CCP, and as am I. I can't read their work in Mandarin or Cantonese. I can only read English or German. Let's see. Notwithstanding is asking, should we dehydrate foods? I have dehydrator. Perhaps I should get some apples and start. Oh yeah, absolutely. Plus, yeah, for sure. Dehydrate. Certainly. I mean, I've got a lot of dehydrated fruits and stuff here. I got a load of dehydrated foods, and almost everything I've got can go without refrigeration. Not everything, but if the refrigeration goes out, obviously I'll go immediately eat everything that needed refrigeration. And so, like when I buy milk, I don't get the milk that needs to be refrigerated. Oh, sometimes I will, but I only get one of those. Let's see. I'm looking. Yeah, but yeah, we can talk about somebody who's got 80 pounds of rice. How do you cook rice so many ways so you don't get tired of rice? uh Bradley Nauman is asking, how does it feel knowing you were right about coronavirus? Well, I'll tell you how it feels. I hope I was wrong, obviously, and I'm not just saying that. I hope I was wrong. But before I said these things, because I won't risk my reputation willy nilly, you know what I mean? You're obviously assuming some level of risk because you don't really know what's going to happen. But I was so sufficiently certain that I'm risking my entire future career on coming and making repeated long videos and publishing things over and over and over and getting on Steve Bannon's Pandemic and getting on Gordon Chong with John Batchelor. I love that show. Gordon Chong and John Batchelor on the John Batchelor Show. That's one of my favorite shows ever. I can't believe they asked me to start being a guest last year. So I come on twice a week with Gordon Chong and Chang. I say Chong because it's a Thai way of saying it. And John Batchelor. I've listened to that show for years. Anyway, I don't like being right. I don't like being right about the Iraq Civil War. I didn't like being right about that we were losing the Afghan war. That I was published 12 major dispatches. I got on Fox one time. I think it was Fox, right? I don't remember. I was in Washington D.C. I think I'd just been on Laura Ingraham's show or something. Was it? Anyway, doesn't matter. And then I went over and did an interview at Fox. I think it was Fox. And I was saying something about I'm not worried about Iraq because the war there was changing. And I said, I'm worried about Afghanistan. And because at that point, everybody thought we were losing the war in Iraq. And I was like, actually, the war in Iraq is actually turning around. It doesn't look like it. Our casualties are still quite high, but I mean, I've been on the ground all over the place. We're starting to win. We still got a lot of casualties, but we're kicking their asses. And there's only we're inside of their OODA loop, and we are killing them faster than their replenishment rate. our are not versus theirs, we were smoking their asses. So I was like, we're beating them. We're taking casualties, but we're beating them. And then in Afghanistan, it was the opposite. There are not, let's say, to use this latest terminology that everybody's familiar with now. The Taliban were clearly increasing in strength, and our human was down, and that sort of thing. Anyway, so I was on Fox, and I gave that interview. I think it was Fox. I don't know. And so then I walked out of the studio, and somebody was waiting for me in the car, and it was a very serious CIA officer, actually, a very good friend of mine. And she was angry because she had been watching it or listening to it somehow. And she's like, "What? What did you just say? You just said that." Blah, blah. She was so angry. And I was just like, "Hey, man, y'all are CIA. Y'all. Why do I have to say this? Why do all the CIA people have to watch my stuff? I should be watching your stuff, right?" All right. Let's see. Yeah, what's our Navy gonna do when we can't go on our submarines? What are we gonna do? Because as soon our Navy, what are we gonna do? Send out all of our ships and aircraft carriers? What do we got? 10 aircraft carriers now that are functioning actually. What are we gonna do about that? When we can't send our attack submarines and all that out there if they got people with this virus on them. So we need to really get military about this and really do force protection. It's not like terrorists are going to stop now. But our Delta Force guys and SEAL Team 6 guys and our Green Berets and all that, they're gonna start getting infected too. But a lot of these guys, especially guys that do counterterrorism, like they have to practice every day. They can't take 2 months off. They'll lose their edge. They start losing their edge instantly. It's not like a soccer player takes 2 months off and then goes and plays in the World Cup. You know what I'm saying? It's the same with counterterrorism where you got to be snappity snap. You know what I mean? You got to be practicing every day, every day, every day, every day. Everything's total instinct, right? And then, they take a couple months off and their skills are already decreasing. Same with same with medics. That's why medics will be like, "Oh, it's been a year since I've done any medic stuff. I'm not reliable anymore," because they're just telling you the truth. Because your skills are very volatile. You got to be snappity, snappity, snap. Always on it, practicing. So what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do if a bunch of our counterterrorism people are sick and they can't even practice? Our whole unit's taken down. I don't know what they're doing now. Obviously, it will be top secret, but they should be in their compounds, and they should be hermetically sealed, as they often are, informationally anyway. Yeah. That's my dog making noise. I'm sorry. She's got the cone on her head because she's got a sickness now. She got to wear the cone until Sunday. Well, fight sick is one thing, but you don't want to be training and getting everybody else sick. And there's some things like if you're going to launch astronauts into space, I'm sure that they don't want to take 2 months off, without training before they launch. You know what I mean? You need to be training up until that last minute. You know what I mean? And then you do your last minute and launch. It's the same with really, really serious, some highest level military work. They got to really have the best edge that they can get. And not be taking long breaks. That's important. Not this name is taken. Let's see. The war in Iraq was lost when we crossed the border from Kuwait to. Actually, we won the war in Iraq. Then we lost the peace. We pulled out too soon. I'm not saying we should have invaded Iraq, or also saying we won is subjective as well. Because then you could counter that and say, well, look at all the money we spent. Look at all the casualties we took. What did we get from it? And on that level, clearly we lost. If you're talking about casualties we took and other things that happened on that level, and at least in my subjective judgment, we lost. Did we militarily win? Well, we kicked their ass for sure. And then we pulled out early, and then, ISIS and that whole thing happened. But so it depends on how you want to frame this up as well. I mean, but we certainly won, and then we left. I haven't written that book, or it'd probably be 5 books, Kim, on the cannibals. In a pinch, Cecilia is asking, in a pinch, would a painter's mask protect all? That's what a lot of people are wearing. That's what I'm wearing. That's what I wear. I was wearing it today. I'm going to be wearing it later today. Where is it? I was wearing this one today. Normally, I'm wearing the other painter's mask. Oh, it's sitting on the other side of over there. I had to wear this one today for another reason. But normally, I'm wearing this 3M 7502. 75. You can see on the front by the nose, 7502. The 7500 series is this type of mask, right? And 7501 is small, 7502 is medium, and 7503 is for people with big heads. So most people are probably going to fit into 7502, it seems like. I don't even see the other ones around. Maybe somebody's got them. A lot of people will say this. You'll hear the infectious disease experts say it. Pandemics end in fear, and I've adopted that. I believe them. Pandemics end in fear when people are like, whoa, this is actually serious now. We should stay home. And then people self-quarantine, not necessarily because the law tells them to, but because they self-quarantine. Let's see. Okay. Well, I'm not going to get into we handed Iraq to the Iranian sphere on day one. We could talk about that for hours. Judy Bain. Yes, I agree. Wandering off to War Room Pandemic. Is it coming on now? Bob Judge? Is War Room Pandemic coming on now? I've already watched them all. It shouldn't be coming on right now unless they're up late. What time is it? It's 12. Are they on at midnight? You must be watching a rerun. Yeah, the one thing about I would wear this. I would wear this in a heartbeat. I would wear this. I mean, one of the things about masks too is to keep you from making other people sick, right? Sorry, I'm looking at my security. But I mean, I would wear this in a heartbeat. I would wear, I would wear anything that covers me from spitting on others, because it's not just about keeping us from getting infected. It's for us to not infect others. Or even if we only infect one person instead of 5, you know what I mean? That slows down the R naught, or bringing it back to your family members, which is a big deal, obviously, because this is clearly happening in family clusters, according to the experts who are studying this as quickly as they can. Let's see. Cecilia's saying, wish on my dad was thinking of disposable painter's mask. Unfortunately, he has to continue working for now. Yeah, definitely I would use painter's mask. Again, I want to make it crystal clear. I'll wear it in a heartbeat. I was wearing it today. I'm going to be wearing it later today because I got to deliver some food to some older people that we don't want to go out. And so we're going to deliver a bunch of food to them. And we're just going to be like, here's your food. We're setting it out in the sun, and they're going to leave it in the sun for a while and then come and get it. And when I deliver it, I'll be wearing my latex and I'll be wearing this so I don't accidentally spit on their food. Yeah, it's a big deal. Ron Reese is saying, we lost it when we disbanded Saddam's army and sent them home with an AK-47 and a chip on their shoulder. Oh, yeah. That and some other. We didn't lose it. I mean, we lost a lot of our people because of that. But we also left their ammunition dumps. They were massive. We're talking about Iraq here. Those ammunition dumps were unbelievable. You had to go out there to see them. You're just like, I didn't know there was this much ammunition on planet Earth. You're just like, this is unbelievable. No wonder Saddam Hussein thought he could beat us. He had so much ammunition. It was like Himalaya, if you stacked it up, it would be taller than Mount Everest. It was unbelievable how much ammunition he had. Unbelievable. Huge amount of ammunition. And from all over the world, man. I took photos of a lot of it, like German rockets and Russian stuff, Chinese stuff, all kind. Just oh man, it was from everywhere. South African artillery, all kinds of stuff. Like Wayshawn saying, painter's mask might actually be better than disposables, but it'll depend on the filters you use and whether you remove or decontaminate after use. I think they're better, man. Wayshawn, I think they're better. That's why I'm wearing these. That's why I'm not wearing that's why I'm not even wearing these. I'm not even wearing them. I mean, sometimes you might see me with one, but not very often. I'm going with these. These are much more comfortable, like 10 times more comfortable. These, man, you start wearing this and they itch after a while. You don't want to take it off. So you have to discipline yourself not to touch it. You always have to discipline yourself not to touch it or contaminate it, right? And also, if you are using this kind, if you are using this kind, make sure you put it on correctly. Like, put it on like this with your 2 fingers. Don't put it on like this. Make sure you mold it to your face. Mold it to your face like this. And then put one strap goes below your ears and one goes above your ears. It's better not to get the masks that go over your ears. Trust me. And these are much better. They're more comfortable, and the more comfortable, the more important, the better it is. Trust me. Comfort's important, but so when you put it on, make sure and then don't touch it after you come on. And the CDC saying that these don't work is just utter nonsense. Like right now, if we're talking, I can't spit on you, right? Or if I cough, it's obviously not gonna. Or if I accidentally sneeze, it's not gonna shoot 40 feet across the room from the airflow from the air conditioner, right? And I can stick my tongue out at you and you won't even know it. Tell me when I'm sticking my tongue out. You can't tell. So if you say something I don't like and I stick my tongue out, you can't tell. All right. Yeah, we might as well get used to each other or get used to the ones you love because we're probably going to all be in quarantine for a while. We can talk about, potato recipes or something. Let's see. Larry is saying, have my team wipe and spray coming tools and use gloves while handling tools from across the country. Yeah, definitely. Lim Chong is asking where to order the mask there that you have. I got mine on Amazon. You can get them in many places, and they're typically not sold out because people keep trying to get those white ones. A friend of mine, a former Army officer, he's a very close friend. He did a couple tours in Iraq himself, a couple of combat tours, and he's an EOD, if you know what I mean. EOD are super serious people. They're like very much into quality. They know anything doesn't work, EOD man dead or woman, right? And so when EOD people give me advice on like staying alive, I'm like, EOD's talking, Mike's listening, right? And one of my EOD friends told me that the Gerson masks are good. Gerson, Gerson, Gerson. I don't have one. I should try one. I've tried so many other masks. I can tell you how they are, but I don't have one. I'm not gonna pay for one to get shipped all the way over to Thailand just to do that because I already got plenty myself. Let's see, what's Jay saying? A joke from local chat group in Hong Kong. Masks are not comfortable, but coffins are definitely more uncomfortable. I love the sense of humor that Hong Kongers have. Yeah. Sherry is saying, I can't believe how gullible people are. It's a virus that isn't any worse than the regular flu. Exactly. One of the things, and who said this? Maybe it was Chris Martinson on Peak Prosperity. I don't know. But somebody said it is exactly correct. And he was saying the mistake that they're making is they're comparing this to the flu, the seasonal flu. But the seasonal flu has already run its course. We already have herd immunity to it. And it still kills a lot of people. We all know that. But it's not to the level of this one. We don't have herd immunity on this one. We don't have any immunity at all. We're just naked out in the middle of the swamp with all the mosquitoes and the ticks and the bugs and the bats and everything else. We're naked to this virus, and so there we go. We're just naked to it. Ewan is right. Ewan Kip Moon's War Room Pandemic is Steve Bannon's daily podcast. Michael says it's the best program about this pandemic. It's on YouTube and other places. It is. It is. I love Steve Bannon's. Can I type them in here? I wonder if I can type a comment. I don't know. I tried something to see if I can type it, but I think I just changed the screen is what I did. I'm messing up here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Let's see. Well, I've messed up. Well, I tell you what, that must be my signal to go back to work. And there's part of it. And right. Let's see. Julie Reader saying new report says the virus says in cardboard for 3 days. Eek. Packages, mail, Amazon. Yeah, we keep getting different reports on that. For instance, how long will it last in refrigerated conditions? Like if you touch, your cold products. Bradley is asking, do I think, wow, how did that happen? And I just touched my face. I keep training myself not to, by saying I just touched my face. And I've reduced touching my face dramatically just by saying I just touched my face. Bradley is saying, do you think the military will be utilized to contain the virus, like enforced curfews? Well, they already have in National Guard, I think, right up in New York, which is a clear sign there. I would say that's a shape of things to come. Will active duty people be used? I don't know. I mean, active duty has already been used to do some things like repatriate some people and to have quarantine centers on bases. Will military be out on the streets? Wow, that's some serious legal issues there. Let's see. Sometimes I come on Steve Bannon's show, by the way. He asked me the other day if I wanted to come on, but I didn't have enough to add that I didn't want to take up the time because he had some more guests on there that I wanted to listen to more than I wanted to listen to me. So good night, Deanna. YouTube is up, but he's got a fantastic show. He and his team do great. But so does John Batchelor and Gordon Chang, and so does Peak Prosperity, and so do quite a few others. The English doctor, John Campbell. Yeah, well, Eric, he's got the Saudi solution. If you cut off your hands, you stop touching your face. That must be a sword. You got a sword, man? Yeah, it's like you're not from Saudi Arabia. You're from Hong Kong. Yeah, cheap mask may help you not touch your face. That's one of the things that people say. You heard some of the medical experts that we have a mask shortage in the United States because we utterly failed to make a strategic mask storage, right? And they're like, the mask could be worse because you might touch your mask. They've lost credibility. They cannot recover their credibility with me. It's like they cannot recover it. They can only be replaced. I will not now ever trust any of those people, those medical experts who came up and said masks don't work. Therefore, you should not wear them. I will never trust them again. There's nothing that they could do that I would trust again. The only thing they can do is be fired. And when it comes to this, trust is paramount. It is absolutely vital that the medical experts always tell the truth, no matter how bad it is or good, because if trust is unbelievably important on this. When they've said that the masks don't work, it made me I get my vaccines. I got a bunch of vaccines last year to return to India, right? I'm not an anti-vaxxer. You've seen me on many times saying, get your vaccines. But now that they've directly lied about this, it makes me wonder, because also many of our vaccines are made in China. And so it makes me wonder, where the FDA is not allowed to do the inspections that they're allowed to do in places like the United States. They're curtailed. And actually, I think the FDA is now cutting foreign inspections now. Look that up in the last 24 hours. I think there were some reports on that. That's really important. So this makes me go, wait a minute. Should I trust vaccines that come from China? And should I trust somebody who just lied to me about masks, saying that vaccines from China are safe? I want my vaccines made in the United States, or at least somewhere like Germany. I do not want my vaccines made in China, period. I'm not going to trust any medicines or vaccines or anything that comes from China. Yeah, huge mask shortage in Canada too, as Cecilia is saying. Mark is saying, I've noticed Trump is appearing with his hands in his pockets. He says he hasn't touched his face in weeks and really misses it. Did he really say that? Yeah, and yeah, Trump hasn't done anybody any favors on this. Jennifer Hack, my brother just got back from active Army Reserve service with the bushfires. Hope he doesn't get around with this virus too. Yeah, make sure he's gets his health in order, good sleep, and everything else, because these are our lines of defense. Things like vitamin D, vitamin C, multivitamin now, and get lots and lots of good sleep, reduce stress in your life, so that we are more able, our bodies can fight, because it's a mind body thing. Mind body. Sarge is saying, Michael, I fear that I will be thrown into the front lines here in a couple of weeks. Believe it or not, I walked into work and the company I work for came out with a policy dictating that we don't wear a mask, to only put on a patients to put it on patients who are symptomatic. This is not looking good for me and my team. I would walk out. I'd walk out. I'd walk out and get on, the news. Well, I'll interview you if you want. We'll make it a. Actually, we should talk. Get you on Steve Bannon's show. PM me. We'll get him a phone call. Sarge, please shoot me a PM, so in case I forget. I don't know what site, which one of my Facebooks you're sending this from too. Or email me, michael.yon@gmail.com. I'll give you a call like immediately as soon as I finish this. Okay. Jay Lamb. Not that I am a fan of Carrie Lam, but I want to mention her name. But once upon a time, she ordered senior officials in Hong Kong not to wear masks so that person who are in need of masks can have them. It's just another failure of the Hong Kong government, just like a failure of the U.S. government, failure of the Canadians and Germans and everybody else that don't have strategic mask supplies. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Janet Thacker, believe it or not, he actually did say that. You're talking about Trump touching his face, I think. That's okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and shut off. Sarge, can you shoot me I want to give you a call. And, okay. Right. And Ron Reese, holy crap, read this NPR report on secret U.S. medical stockpile. Okay. I'm going to shut off for now. But, as people get more and more quarantined, you know what we can do? We really can make, a quarantine coffee and book club, and we can talk about rice recipes or whatever, because a lot of people might go stir crazy. But if we get to talk and share information together, then, hey, we can, a lot of this is just psychological, and we'll get through it. We'll just like, this is interesting times. Interesting people are going to live through interesting times, and we'll be talking about this for the rest of our lives. And it's going to come one way or the other. So we're gonna take it well. We're gonna take it strong. Let's see, Irene, you're most welcome. Oh, thank you very much, Irene Gardikas. Michael Jan, so thankful for your truth. I'm preaching your sight all day long. Thank you so much for loving the little people. I am the little people. So it's just loving my people. So blessed that you are caring for us. God bless. Let's see. Help your elderly neighbor. Do good. Protect yourself. It is important. By the way, I want to say one more thing, and then I really should go. I'm going to help a couple of elderly people today, actually, and deliver food to them. Everybody needs to think about the elderly people in their life and stay away from them, but call them up, talk with them, chat with them, get them online, tell them to come here. We'll talk about what's going on. But make sure they're quarantined, because obviously it's super serious. And also our medical professionals, doctors, nurses, EMTs, and also law enforcement, anybody that's going to have to be on the front lines of people, they need to, they're going to need support, just like our soldiers need support when they go off to war, right? Our soldiers now are our doctors and nurses and EMTs and people running the hospitals, and our law enforcement and everybody else. Ask them if your neighbor's a cop, ask him or her, hey, what do you need? What do you need me to do to make your life easier so you can get some sleep? You know what I mean? To keep your acumen up, and to keep your defenses up. A doctor or nurse is your neighbor or your friend or your relative. Ask them, what do they need? Water your dog, feed your goldfish. What do you need? I'm here. I'll help you. You know what I mean? And when that moral support also is huge. When people know, man, this is long, man. I've been doing this for 2 months. You know what I mean? They've been working for 80 hours a week, and stressful, and they've been seeing some bad things, but they know that you care about them and you're in their corner. Trust me, when I go off to war and I get all these emails and stuff, and people are like, I get cards in the mail and stuff. Yeah, it actually has a psychological effect, very positive psychological effect. That might be one reason why I don't have PTSD too. I get all these reassurances from people. You know what I mean? They're like, "Oh, you're doing a great job," and I'm actually all but certain. I can't be clinically certain, but I think that also is an effect like sunlight. When people are like, "Hey, you're doing a good job," so if you know people that are in law enforcement, people that are medical professionals or EMT, something like that, they got to be on the front line. They got to keep our electricity running. They got to keep out here, keep the water running. These are now our soldiers that if they stop their fight, our lights go out, our water stops. Support our frontline people, and that's a lot of different sorts of people. All right, I'm going to shut off for now. I'll come back. Do their shopping errands for them. Like if cops, nurses, doctors, whatever, whoever's on the front line, electrical workers, ask them if they need you to go shopping for them, so that they don't have to work all that time. And, imagine when all of a sudden a third of the police force is out because they're sick. So all the other cops have to take up the slack. And then they still got to do their own shopping. They got to feed their dog and everything else. But if we can say, hey, man, send me your list. Send me your shopping list. I'll leave it in your garage, whatever. You know what I'm saying? That can make then they come home and all that stuff's there for them, psychologically feel better. And they know you got their back. It'll make them stay because we got to get their back so they can get our back. This is a team, man. All right, I'm going to go offline now. Y'all be well out there. I'll come back later today at some point, maybe later tonight. I got to go take care of a couple old people and do some more homework. Mike out. And